Hi everybody. So I'm continuing on with this video series. Why? Well, because I know I like to have a story read to me once in a while, and so this is me reading my story to you. Now this is part 2 of a junkyard horror story. I hope you enjoy it, and let's just jump right in. Here we go. Another day, another dollar, I muttered to myself as I pick up the empty McDonald's cup and throw it into the trash bag. Every day I walk the yard picking up garbage. Why can't these guys pick up their own trash? I feel uneasy after yesterday's news about Dave's murder. Ernesto checked the yard this morning and reassured me that it's safe, but I don't really believe him. All I can see are hundreds of places that a killer can hide, and the chicken skin on my arms tell me that I'm right. There are so many freaking cars. They are stacked in pairs, one on top of the other, forming corridors throughout the yard. The cars are constantly being shuffled around, so a clear passageway in the morning can become a dead end by the afternoon. It's an acre of ever-changing twists and turns. A person can get lost in this labyrinth. I can't count how many times I've searched for Ernesto out here, shouting out his name into the wind, only to eventually give up and wait for him to resurface on his own. As I approach the office, I hear Paulo's voice, bellowing out. Bill and John, our workers, are standing next to Paulo, hanging on his every word. Bill, dressed in a blue plaid shirt and jeans, is a foot taller than the rest of the guys in the room. The kid is only 20 and never talks much. John is shorter, whiter, and in his mid-50s, and always smells of cigarettes. Ernesto is center stage behind the counter, and Lorenzo in his usual spot holding up the wall. I see old man Conroy in the mix. Conroy is in his late 60s and has been a mechanic for over 40 years. Benji did it again. That bastard got Bob, stabbed him to death in his own shop. The cops still haven't caught him. Pablo shakes his head and stretches out his arms to show his disbelief. He continues on. Benji better hope that the cops catch him before I do. If I get my hands on him, there'll be nothing left for the police. Although none of us think that Benji has anything to fear from Paulo, we share his anger. I can't believe it. Bob was one of our regulars. He called me every day asking for parts. I feel shaky and lightheaded as I understand what this means. The police search didn't scare Benji away. He's still here. You do realize that Bob's place is on the corner, and that's only a half a block away, John points out as he looks at Ernesto. I feel my heart in my throat. I didn't know that Bob's place was so close to ours. That's too close. An uneasy silence takes over the room as we think about what that implies. I knew Benji about 10 years back before he went nuts. Old man Conroy breaks the silence. We worked together at Jose's auto repair shop before Benji bought his own place. He pauses, waiting to see if anyone has anything to say. But we are all silent as children listening to a ghost story. Old man Conroy clears his throat and continues on. Quiet guy. Real quiet. Kept to himself. But he got the work done and didn't bother anyone. He had a real liking for the Snap-on tools. You know, the real expensive ones? Conroy laughs as if remembering an image from the past. Benji be wearing torn-up jeans and shoes with holes, but he had himself a real nice set of tools. Yeah, those are nice. I don't keep any at the junkyard. Tools are lost and stolen too easy here. Ernesto jumps in. Conroy nods in agreement and starts up again. I remember when Big Fred tried to steal himself one of those beauties. Benji caught him, didn't say a word, just walked over and broke the big guy's nose. Blood was sprouting everywhere. Maybe even broke a couple of teeth, I think. All it took was one punch. Conroy shakes his head, obviously still impressed even after all these years. I thought Fred would sue, but something about that crazy look in Benji's eye made him think otherwise. A week later, Benji quit the shop and bought himself his own place. I didn't see him much after that, but shortly after, the killing started. Conroy pauses to look around the room, catching her eyes as if to say, it's starting again. Watch out. Who did he kill? Paulo. His loud voice snaps us out of the story. Conroy smirks and looks at Paulo. Well, you think you killed the big, fat, loud ones. You know, the ones that are always interrupting and running their mouths off. But no, that's the scary thing about Benji, is that he'd kill anyone. Customers would stop by his shop and then never be heard of again. A fellow mechanic might get an unexpected visit from Benji and be found dead the next day. Cops found 1 gram of stuff in the trunk of her car, dead for 3 days and stinking, but the car was in good repair and washed clean. I watched the men in the room. I can see the guys shifting the weight of their feet, fidgeting like most men do when they get scared but are afraid to show it. None of us felt safe until they caught him. No one suspected that quiet old Benji was doing the killing. Never heard of a motive. It's like he just woke up one day and decided to start killing. Old man Conroy finishes his story and starts to walk towards the door. Well, I'll be heading out now. You won't be seeing me for a few weeks. I've got me some vacation time saved up, and I'm thinking now is as good a time as any to use it. Best of luck to you guys. Watch out for one another. And with that, old man Conroy walks out the door, leaving us to chew on his words. His words haunt me for most of the day. The guys are all in the yard. Bill and John are outside cleaning and possibly working. Ernesto is showing off his 1954 Deluxe to Paulo and Lorenzo. The office is too quiet. There is nothing to distract me from Conroy's story. I feel ready to jump out of my skin, and I imagine Benji sneaking up behind me, ready to strike. Even Miss Kitty is missing today. She usually hangs out in the office with me, but I haven't seen her since breakfast. That's it. I decide I'm going to go looking for her. I'll drag her back in here with me to keep me company. I try to feel for her location, and only one thought comes to mind. The black van. It's silly, but I decide to try my luck. Spooky as ever, I find her sitting on the hood of the van looking at me. She doesn't hop down and run towards me like she normally would. No, she waits for me. I'm scared. Even though I know that Officer Frank checked the yard yesterday and Ernesto looked this morning, I have a bad feeling about that van. It feels wrong. But looking at Miss Kitty sitting on the hood, it's almost as if she wants me to come over to her. I swallow my fear and decide to look inside the van for myself. I'm not a wuss. Maybe seeing that there is no boogeyman hiding in there will settle my nerves. My hands tremble as I grip the sliding door handle. I take a deep breath and ready myself to run if I see anyone. I slide the door open. Thank God there is no one here. I breathe easier. I look around me, instinctively to make sure there's no killer behind me like the movies. But no, it's just me and Miss Kitty. As I'm ready to close the van door, a red and black object catches my eye. It's a screwdriver lying on the back seat, and I recognize the signature handle, the red handle with 2 black stripes on the side, and it's a snap-on screwdriver. My right hand shakes as I pick it up, and Miss Kitty meows and rubs against my boots, reminding me of where I am. Let's go, Miss Kitty, I tell her, hoping she will understand. I walk quickly to where the guys are. I watch to make sure Miss Kitty is following me. My eyes start darting everywhere, praying I don't see Benji. I feel the panic racing through my body as I rush over to Ernesto, gripping the screwdriver in my right hand. Ernesto! I call out as soon as he is in earshot. The guys look up at me, all of them. Ernesto, Bill, John, Lorenzo, Paulo. But then go back to talking amongst each other, Paulo being the loudest, of course. Ernesto! I start to tell him as I reach his side, but he puts out a hand as if to tell me to wait so Paulo can finish his story. Impatient, I decide I'm not waiting. Look at what I found in the van. I show him the screwdriver. He doesn't react. It's a snap-on screwdriver, I tell him. Still no reaction. I found it in the black van. Miss Kitty was acting strange lately. She's been hanging out about the black van instead of with me, and just staring at it, as if something was inside it. I took a look for myself, and this is what I found, a snap-on screwdriver. I hear my voice sounding high-pitched, not the calm tone I wanted to use. The men look unimpressed, and Paulo starts talking again. You should have Rodrigo paint it for you. He gives the lowest price. I feel ready to scream at someone. How can they all be so stupid? I hold the screwdriver up high and speak more slowly so that they can connect the dots. Remember, old man Conroy said that Benji likes snap-on tools, right? You think that belongs to Benji? Ernesto laughs, and the others join in. Anyone could have left that here. I think you're just getting worked up because of Conroy's story. Everyone tells lies around here. I bet he didn't even know him. The guys all nod and look at each other in agreement. I don't think he was lying. I've been around a lot of liars and have seen many here at the junkyard. I stare down the men around me. I think he was telling the truth. I have a bad feeling about this, Ernesto. A very, very bad feeling about this. Okay, I'll check the yard again so you feel better. He kisses my cheek and Paulo starts talking again. I walk away. I turn one last time to look at them huddled around the 1950 Ford. I think it will be a long time before he checks the yard. If ever. Yeah, I've worked the junkyard long enough. I know when someone is telling a lie. I'm heading home, I call out to him. He might have tried to argue with me, but I didn't stick around to listen. Why should I? They don't listen to me. I gather my stuff. Miss Kitty jumps up on the counter for one last snuggle. Don't worry, Miss Kitty. I'll be back. No one messes with my junkyard. I whisper into her ear and listen to her purr. Okay, guys, so I hope you enjoyed part 2. Part 3 is coming up. I've infused a little bit of myself into the story. Sometimes it is hard to get these guys to listen. And actually the motivation for this story was walking around the junkyard and seeing so many cars. It was around Halloween time, and I was thinking about how a killer could hide in one and jump out. And I also thought, me being a woman at the junkyard, if I knew there was a serial killer at the yard, I would have a hard time getting these guys to listen to me. I do love these guys, and I hope you can see in the story I have a soft spot in my heart for them. But yeah, I always thought, man, it could be something like there is a killer there and I know it, and these guys wouldn't listen. So I really do love this character, Sammy. So she has a lot of grit to her, which I think you're going to see coming up. So part 3 coming up soon, guys. Thank you so much for listening.